Small details are what make Bluey such a great show, and in today's video we're going to look at some of them. So, without any delay, let's dive right into the video. So, the first detail has probably been missed by many, and we can find it on the license plates, especially when we are talking about the license plates of Bluey's car. The Healer family license plate says 419 HLR, and obviously everyone knows HLR means Healer. But you are forgetting the number, which in fact also tells us something important. In the digital world of colors, the number #419FFF is the code used to create a shade of blue. It is the blue of Bluey's fur. So, if we read the full code, the Healer family license plate says Blue Healer. Did you notice this detail? The next secret is really funny. Did you all know that bandit is actually a bandit? So, the meaning of the word bandit is a robber or outlaw. And most of us might have seen in movies and TV that bandits normally wear this mask. And if we look at our bandit, we can see the resemblance of that mask. The upper side of his face looks like a bandit mask. Bluey's creators are really clever, aren't they? And apparently Bluey's family has very good musical tastes. In the weekend episode, if we look very closely at Chili when she returns from running, we can see her music player for a few seconds. Zoom in on this part, and you will realize that the cover of the album she was listening to is a dog version of The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. And this small detail undoubtedly makes us know a little more about Chili. Each Bluey episode tries to tell us a backstory, and the Bin Night episode was no exception. While Bingo is trying to make friends with someone who seems quite combative, Bluey lets us know that she's also learning something. Every night, Bluey wears a karate suit. The first night they take out the trash, she wears a white belt, which indicates she's a beginner in this karate world. And if you paid attention to this detail, you might have noticed that by the end of the episode, she was already a yellow belt, which tells us that the characters continue with their lives even when we don't see them on screen. In the episode Hospital, you were probably quite familiar with the curious purple octopus that Bluey has. Where had you seen it before? Well, this octopus looks a lot like Mr. Octi. Don't you know which one it is? The purple octopus that appears in the Powerpuff Girls. Now you know why this octopus probably looked familiar to you. Some of the references that we find in the episodes may be quite obvious to us, and we find several of these with Winton in the episode Stories. For example, here when we see Winton all muscular, moving those huge pecs. In fact, this is a reference to Arnold Schwarzenegger, exactly when he makes his enormous pecs dance. And this hidden detail makes me nostalgic, and we can find it in Chloe's house. Chloe is a cute Dalmatian, and to make it very clear that she's a Dalmatian, in her house, we can see the number 101, referring to the famous movie 101 Dalmatians. Now let's talk about all the pineapples we find on occasions in Bluey's house. This pineapple can be found all over the Bluey series in a variety of different spots. Well, this is the pineapple that represents Ludo Studios. The logo of Ludo Studios actually contains a pineapple, and that's why we can see it in several episodes. Very clever, right? The surprise episode of Bluey has got everyone debating about whether Bluey will marry Jean-Luc or Mackenzie. Well, one of the earlier episodes was probably giving us a hint as to what will happen later in the episodes. When Bluey and Jean-Luc meet, they seem to get along quite well. In fact, we could even say that it was love at first sight. To begin with, Bluey gets too excited when she is with Jean-Luc, and in fact, Bluey even makes a drawing of them. But this does not end here. Apparently, this drawing was very important for Bluey since it continues to appear in other episodes. They show it to us on the wall in one of the episodes, and we can also see it in the episode The Show. Is Bluey waiting for Jean-Luc to return so that she can give the drawing to him? Let's hope that we can see Bluey and Jean-Luc reunion in the near future. In the Granddad episode, they tell us a little more about Chili's childhood. In fact, apparently, she used to play in this very spot when she was a puppy. Well, when Chili and her daughters start a race to catch Grandpa on one of the trees, we can see for a few seconds that Chili's name is written on one of them. So, for this reason, we believe that Chili was also quite naughty when she was at the age of Bluey and Bingo, and of course, she decided to mark her territory. Another cool detail that only eagle-eyed viewers like us can notice was another photo, but this time in the Healer's house. In the chest episode, if you look carefully at the wall behind Bingo, you'll notice there's a photo of Bingo herself with a cake in front of her. This episode is the 10th of the 3rd season, but the photo we see was taken on Bingo's birthday, which happened in episode 44 of the second season. And from the photo, it seems like the duck-shaped cake Bandit made didn't get much use at Bingo's party. And for Stranger Things fans, it surely wasn't difficult for them to notice the reference in the seesaw episode. Just when Chili is talking to Pom Pom's mom. If we pay attention to their conversation, they seem to be talking about Stranger Things. Pom Pom's mother tells him that she waits for them to return in season 4, and Chili responds by saying that she has already seen the trailer, and that apparently they are in Russia or something like that. What does this remind you of? In 1 second, Hopper came to mind. Did you notice it? The next detail is a little harder to notice, but in fact, the $5 bill that Bluey receives when she loses her tooth traveled more than you and me in recent months. We can see that it goes from Bluey to Winton's dad, then to the man with the German sausages, then to the lady with the juices, and so on, until it ends up in the hands of the musician. But the bill continues traveling, and later, we see it in dance mode and the silent game. And probably this $5 bill will continue to travel, and we will find it in the future episodes of Bluey. Now, this hidden detail is one of the funniest ones. While Bandit is resting on the slide, at the top, we can see Buddy, who apparently is waiting for Bandit to move so he can slide down. If we zoom at Buddy, we can see him covering his nose. Do you know what this means? Well, most of us know about Bandit's fart problem, and this time, Buddy was one of his victims. And did you know Lightning McQueen has also featured in Bluey? Well, not literally, but in one of the episodes, when Bingo goes to see the cake that Bandit managed to make after a lot of effort, we can see near the family table a wheel toy. And if you look closely, you'll realize it's very similar to Lightning McQueen, the protagonist of the Cars franchise. Except that we can see some modifications on the toy to make it look a bit more canine-like, for example, the addition of a small tail and 2 ears. But the red color and the windshield-shaped eyes are identical to those of the Cars from Disney's movie. Pink Floyd was not the only band that had its reference. In the episode Telephones, when the grandfather plays with Bluey and Bingo, we can also find another musical group. Australian children's music group Wiggles appears in a signed photo, but only true eagle eyes could notice this. And did you know, unlike other cartoons, the characters in Bluey actually age over time? The best example of this is Socks. When we first saw Socks, she was just a tiny pup who walked on her 4 legs and behaved completely like a small puppy and couldn't even talk properly. But as the show went on, she was able to stand on her 2 legs, and in the episode The Sign, we could hear her talk clearly. So, this proves that the characters in the show actually grow up with new episodes. So, these are some of the details we caught on Bluey. Have you noticed any other hidden details that you would like to share? If you have, then let us know in the comments. And as always, we'll see you all in the next video.